We continue now at the top of Daf Ayin Tes Amud Aleph and Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 79a. On the previous Amud, the Mishnah said that if the person strikes a person intending to strike him on the heart, and there was enough in terms of that strike that it could have killed him if it struck him on the heart, but then instead it struck the person on his loins, it wasn't strong enough to kill him with that strike on the loins, and the person did die, so the person who struck him is exempt because we assume that he died from something else. And the Mishnah continues, let's say a person had intention to strike an adult, it was not enough strength to kill the adult, but then instead he ended up striking a minor, and it was enough to kill the minor, and the minor died, so in that case also he is exempt. If he had intention to strike the minor, and it was enough to kill the katan, and instead he struck the adult, it wasn't enough of a strike to kill the adult, but the adult died, again, potter in that situation, he is exempt. But let's say he has intention to strike him on his loins, and it's enough to kill him if he strikes him on the loins, and then instead it goes to his heart, and he dies, so in that case he is chayiv, he is liable, because his intention either way was enough to kill him, he ended up killing that person. Let's say he had intention to strike an adult, and it was enough to kill the adult, and then instead he struck the minor of a mace, and the minor died, chayiv, in that case also, he is liable. Rabbi Shimon says, even if a person has intention to kill one person and instead he kills another person, Rabbi Shimon says exempt in those kinds of situations. And the Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon who says, even if a person had intention to kill one person and kills another person, we say, Potter, what is he going on in the Mishnah? What is he arguing against? Ilema Seif, if you're going to say that he's arguing on the end of the Mishnah, so then Rabbi Shimon Poter mi boile, then what it should have said was, Rabbi Shimon says exempt, because it's going on that last case. Rashi explains, Inema Aseifa, to Kamar Tanakama Niskavin Lahakos as Agodol V'holchol al Akotan V'meis Chayev. Again, the Tanakama said that if a person has intention to strike the adult, and instead it strikes a minor and the minor dies, so the Tanakama says Chayev in that case, Alma Niskavin Larogesev V'hargeseh Chayev. You see that the Tanakama is saying that if you had intention to kill one person and instead you killed another person, we say that the person is liable. But if Rabbi Shimon was going on that case, Rabbi Shimon Poter mi boile, it should have said that Rabbi Shimon says exempt. That's the exact case of the Tanakama. Why does Rabbi Shimon have to go and re-explain and say even in a situation of niskavin laro gezeh v'hara gezeh? So it doesn't seem that Rabbi Shimon is going on the end of the Mishnah. And so the Gemara instead says Ella Aresha. Rather, Rabbi Shimon is going on the beginning of the Mishnah. In the beginning of the Mishnah it said niskavin laharo gezeh v'hema v'hara gezeh adam. If a person had intention to kill an animal and instead killed a man, lo'ovid kochavim v'hara gezeh Yisrael. Let's say he had intention to kill a non-Jew and killed a Jew. L'nefolim v'haragas ben kayama, he had intention to kill a baby that was not viable, but he killed someone that was viable. So Potter, in all of those cases, the Tanakama said exempt, and the idea over there was because the original intention was to kill in a way that would not have been liable, and so therefore the person is exempt. So haniskavin laharogazev v'haragas chayv. Now the implication of the Tanakama is that if a person has intention to kill one person and instead kills another person, both people, if he had killed them, he'd be liable. So chayv, it sounds like the Tanakama is saying chayiv, is saying that the person is liable in such a case, and that's what Rabbi Shimon is responding to. Rabbi Shimon says, Afilo niskavin laharo gezeh v'hara gezeh potter, even if he had intention to kill this person, and instead he killed that person, he is potter, he is exempt. And the Gemara continues, Pshita is obvious. Koi Ruvain v'Shimon. Let's say Ruvain and Shimon are standing there. V'yamar, and the person says, Ano l'Ruvain kamechafna. I had intention to kill Ruvain. L'Shimon lo kamechafna. I had no intention to kill Shimon. Hainu pluksayu. That's exactly the machlokas Tanakam and Rabbi Shimon that we just said. Amar l'chad minai humai. But what if the person says, I want to kill one of them? He doesn't say which one. He doesn't specify. He doesn't care. He just wants to kill one of them. Inami or kisavor Ruvain v'nimsa Shimon. Let's say he wants to kill the person that he killed, However, he thought that it was Reuven that he was killing, and it turns out it was Shimon. So then what's the halacha in such a situation? Rashi explains, Amar lechad minayo kamechavna. Let's say he says, I'm having intention for one of them, but he doesn't care which one. So what would be the halacha in that case? Rabbi Shimon mikri le miskaven lo mechayev. According to Rabbi Shimon, the question is as follows: is that called that he had intention and then he's chayev? Or Dilmor maybe kevan di azla idach v'shavka le lahai havanami nichole lav miskaven hu. Maybe if it would go on the other person and not this person, it would also be fine for this individual, the person who's trying to murder. Maybe that's not called having proper kavana. Is if a person says, I want to kill one of them, I don't care which one, is that called proper kavana or not? Because again, Rabbi Shimon says, if you have kavana for one and you kill the other, you're generally exempt. Inami or lahakos es haguf hazeh. The person had intention to kill this particular body, this particular person. Aval kesavru shu Reuven, but he thought that person was Reuven. V'nimsa Shimon, it turns out that person is Shimon. Mi amrinan kevan de lahai gufa iskaven miskaven hulo. Do we say that since he was intending for this particular person physically, therefore that's considered kavana is chayiv? O Dilmar maybe kevan de lahai gavra lo echaven pazulei Rabbi Shimon, since he wasn't thinking that it was that person, he thought it was Reuven, it was really Shimon. So maybe in this case, Rabbi Shimon also would say exempt. And the Gemara continues, Tashma, come here the following proof, the Tanya, because we learned in a Brisa. Rabbi Shimon says, At Sheyomar, until he says, Leploni ani miskavin, that I had intention for so-and-so. And Rashi says, At Sheyomar leploni ani miskavin, va'oso ploni hargi. He has to say, I had intention for so-and-so, and he killed that person. V'chiyomar lechad minayo, so therefore if he says one of them, lo yichid oso, he hasn't designated that person, so therefore he'd be exempt. V'chein kisava Reuven, v'nimsa Shimon, also if he thought it was Reuven, it was really Shimon. Lo zeo ploni sheniskavin, lo, that's not the person he intended, and so therefore Rabbi Shimon would say exempt in both cases. And the Gemara continues, my time with Rabbi Shimon. What's the reason of Rabbi Shimon? Why does he say that if you have intention for one and you kill the other, that you're exempt? And the Gemara says, Amar Krutz, because the Pasuk says, V'orav lo v'kam olav. It says that he's going to ambush him, and he goes against him, Ad sheyiskaven lo. The idea is that he has to have that intention. He has to have intention for that person. As Rashi says, V'orav lo kro yiseru. This is an extra Pasuk. Nichtov ki yeh ish sonei l're'ehu v'kam olav. It could have just said, a person hates his friend, and he goes against him. It doesn't have to say V'orav lo, that he ambushes him. And so therefore that is telling us that there has to be that level of intention according to Rabbi Shimon. And the Gemara continues, V'Rabbanan, and according to the Rabbanan, what do they do with the extra words in that pasuk of Yarav lo v'kam olav? Amri devei Rabbi Yanai, they say in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yanai, Prat lezorek even lego. What that comes to exclude is somebody who throws a stone among a group of people and kills someone. In that situation, the Rabbanan would say pater. And Rashi explains, Amri devei Rabbi Yanai, Prat lezorek even lego, leso chabura shel bnei adam. You have a whole group of people, kusim v'Yisraelim, there's non-Jews and Jews. Aval neskavin li-Yisrael. But if he had intention for this Yisrael, for this Jew, v'harages chaver, and kills another one, lo asa kol lamute, that we're not coming to exclude. We're specifically coming to exclude a situation where you throw the stone into a group of people that includes both Jews and non-Jews. And the Gemara continues, hey chidami, what exactly is the case? If you're going to say that the case is there are 9 non-Jews and there's one Jew v'yechad Yisrael beinehen, and there's one Jew among them, so teipoklei deruba kusim ninu. So then we should say that the majority are not Jewish, and so therefore in such a situation, it's obvious that you would be pater in that case. As Rashi says, what do we even need a pasuk for? Of course, if it's rov kusim, the person is pater. Inami palgu palgan, even if you say that it's 50-50, let's say you say it's 50% non-Jews and 50% Jews, safek nefashos lahakel, the halacha is, if you have a doubt when it comes to a capital situation whether we should apply the death penalty, we're lenient, and so there also you don't need a pasuk. It's obvious that the person is exempt. And so the Gemara says, lo no tzrich, it's necessary, Yisrael, the kusi echad beinein. The case is there's 9 Jews and there's one non-Jew, and even in that situation, the pasuk is saying that the person is pater. The havale kusi kavua, and the reason is because the kusi, the non-Jew, is considered kavua. He's fixed in place. V'chol kavua, and the rule is that anytime you have someone that's kavua, kemechsal mechsadami, even though you have a majority of Jews over here, but it's automatically considered like mechsal mechsa, it's considered like 50-50, and therefore again we apply safek nefashos lahakil, and we're going to say that the person is exempt. And the Gemara continues, Bishlam al-Rabbanan. Now, it's good according to the Rabbanan. Because again, the Rabbanan say if you had intention to kill this person and you kill that person, you're still chayiv, you're still liable. We can learn that from the Pasuk. Because it's written in the Pasuk. The Pasuk says, let's say 2 men are fighting, and then they end up pushing a pregnant woman, they cause a miscarriage. That's what the Pasuk is discussing. V'yamar Rebbe Elazar says on that Pasuk, we're talking about where the one man had intention to kill the other man and then ended up striking the woman. It's written in Ason Yiyah that if there should be a situation of danger, of harm, v'nasata nefesh tachas nefesh. In other words, if let's say they do kill the woman in that case, it's nefesh tachas nefesh. It's considered to be a soul for a soul, and it sounds like the pasuk is saying that there would be the death penalty in that case. So that would be the source according to the Rabbanon. But the Gemara continues, El Rabbi Shimon, but according to Rabbi Shimon, Hai v'nasata nefesh tachas nefesh, this pasuk that says v'nasata nefesh tachas nefesh, my avidle, what does he do with that pasuk? Again, it certainly sounds like there's a death penalty. And the Gemara continues and answers mammon. That pasuk is actually talking about mammon. It's actually talking about a monetary payment. Rashi explains mammon demei ha'isha, meaning the value of the woman. Yiten liyorshe, you're going to have to give, you're going to have to pay to her heirs. Again, because it's a situation where it was an intention for one person and killed another person, there is no death penalty, but nefesh tachas nefesh means there has to be a monetary payment. Uchid Rebbe, it's like Rebbe says, the Tanya we learned in a brayso, Rebbe Yomer, Rebbe says, v'nasata nefesh tachas nefesh. What does it mean when the pasuk says v'nasata nefesh tachas nefesh? Mammon, it means money. Ata Omer, mammon, you're saying it means money, or oeno elo nefesh mamish. Maybe it means an actual soul. Maybe it means a death penalty. Nemra nesina lamata uses the word nesina below. V'nemra, and it also says, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Ayin Tes Amid Beis.